Welcome to ChiroSphere, where we talk about all things chiropractic and some things not so chiropractic. I'm Dr. Ray Foxworth, your host for ChiroSphere and CEO of ChiroHealth USA, the network that works for chiropractic. Today on ChiroSphere, we're thrilled to welcome Jeff Gavette, a true testament to what happens when grit meets vision. Jeff's story begins as a warehouse employee at Endeavor Medical in Largo, Florida. It continues through a life shaped by his upbringing as a Navy brat and service in the U.S. Coast Guard Presidential Honor Guard. Over the past 25 years, Jeff has dedicated himself not just to supplying practitioners with top tier equipment, but to closing the critical gap between buying cutting edge modalities and successfully implementing them into practice. Jeff's insight into marrying technology, staff education, and practice workflow will leave you inspired. Welcome, Jeff.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing quite well. And first of all, thank you for your service, sir. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So you began your career working in the warehouse at Endeavor Medical, grew up as a Navy brat, and as I said, served as in the U.S. Coast Guard and the Presidential Honor Guard. How did those early life experiences kind of shape your mindset, and ultimately what led to your path as an entrepreneur in the health equipment space?
Yeah, I guess traveling around as a Navy brat, you get a lot of experiences in a lot of different areas. Having to meet new people, adapt to your surroundings, and being able to be in the Presidential Honor Guard for the first President Bush and President Clinton, or the inauguration of President Clinton. It allowed me to have a new focus on attention to details, to see the things that other people are going to see that most people don't realize that they see. So the just attention to detail was so important.
So when you founded JAG Medical Solutions, you stated that the mission was to bridge the gap between cutting edge technology and practical application. What was a catalyst for that shift? Because I mean, I as a retired practitioner, I can't tell you how many whiz bang gadgets that I bought over the years. At a trade show, come home, and I either get the staff push back, "Oh, we don't want to do this," or it works. Ends. Long story bearable. Too often it ends up in the back closet.
Yes,
So,
sir.
kind of walk me through why you chose this model for not just supplying equipment or selling equipment, but really getting it onboarded in the right way.
Yeah, I mean, early on in my career, I realized that there were manufacturers and I was considered a manufacturer rep. So I would go out and I would go into doctors' offices, or I would see them at shows, and I would just sell my piece of equipment because it was my piece of equipment that I had. But very early, I noticed that even though I may have had the best piece of equipment that exists on the planet, the manufacturer, once they sold it, they would offer a manufacturer warranty, but there was no actually, how do you use this clinically? It might have been, back in the day when we had discs or actually like a paper manual, but there was nobody that was actually going in and saying, hey, let me evaluate how you guys actually run as a clinic. And then how do I make sure I educate your front desk to your CA, to the doctor? What are they saying and how are they saying it? So I just became a resource after the purchase at no extra cost. I would then do an evaluation to the office and make it so that that product actually became an asset and never collected dust or got put into the closet, because we were able to assist what you were doing in your practice.
Yep. So it really sounds like you're doing what would be considered like an in service rather than just delivering the equipment. It's here's the equipment and let's figure out how you're going to use it, when you're going to use it, and how does that integrate with your workflow. So give me, if you have them, a couple of examples of maybe a clinic um, that you've run into and they've got some whiz bang gadget and it is sitting in the corner. Doesn't mean it's not a valid tool. It just wasn't ever adopted. what would be your if a doc's in that situation, what would be your advice to them on how to dust that off, start using it again? Because like you said, otherwise it's not an investment, it was just an expense.
Yeah, that's I guess the thing that I've created over the last, this is my 30th year of doing um education and helping especially my chiropractors. I know that I'm going to say this and I believe this 100%. My babies are chiropractic babies. My grandson, who was just born a little over a week ago now, he just got his first adjustment. So chiropractic has been very important to me. And I feel like it's super important for me to help the chiropractors. So I always do free consultation with any doctor who wants to call me and say, hey, I have this piece of equipment. Um, just like what you guys do at Chiro Health, which I'm super excited to learn more from you so that I can actually help my doctors to get connected to you guys. It's the details of what you do that help them to be successful. So, whether they've purchased a product from me, I would absolutely say, hey, let me know what it is. And I can help you to implement that product, or just tell me about your clinic, and then here's how we can implement it. I just did a presentation to a group that has 700 physical therapy clinics, and it was on laser therapy. But the biggest thing was to go through, like, okay, what is your front desk doing? What knowledge do they have on laser? And then your actual therapist, your PTAs, and then more importantly, what are they saying to the patients? Because you can have the best product in the entire world. If the patient walks out of there and doesn't know how it's going to impact them, then they walk away with just missing opportunities for patients. So anybody that has anything, I'm willing to do a consult with them, and it's the same way as I've grown today. The best part is now I offer quite a few products that are cash modalities, that my whole purpose is to give you a second income or a third income or a fourth income without a second, third, or fourth job. Once you hire me,
Who doesn't want that?
yeah. Well, I just say, once you hire me, then for the rest of time, I'm available to you. I'm available to your new chiropractic assistants. If you have a CCPA or anybody that comes in, you have an associate doctor that comes in. I want to make sure that it's a wonderful tool, or a wonderful adjunct to what you're doing. I can't and I will not ever want to replace the adjustment, but I can provide things that will 100% add value to the long-term healing process.
You know, and having this conversation, it makes me think of a couple of different things. Probably one of the biggest, I won't call it a downfall, but just a habit that we have, I think in practice is, we'd like to show up and take care of patients. Most chiropractors hate training. They hate teaching, except, maybe to patients. And so to the degree that our staff are trained really dictates what our outcome is gonna be, and,
Yes.
I can't tell you over the years how many times people, "Man, I just wish I could hire somebody just to do that." Well, guess what, doc? You're it. It is up to you, so if you don't wanna do the training, surround yourself with people that can do that training, because even our experience at Chiro Health, and I know several other business owners, we'll go to an event, we'll have a doctor interested in what we do, and when they go back home, one of about 3 things happens. The doctor's on board, but the team's not. The team's on board, but the doctor's not, and then the ideal situation is the team and the doctor are on board. Otherwise, the staff are sitting there, "Oh, crap, Doctor Ray went to another seminar this weekend. What the hell is he bringing in here now?"
Right. Right.
So, it really does come down to, I think, investing in your staff and investing in their training, because you can go buy all the whiz bang gadgets out there, and if nobody understands it, don't know what its indications are, how it can help patients, how it can improve outcomes, well, then it's just one more thing the doc has asked me to do.
Oh, and That's ultimately like why I do a consult with somebody, because before, I think, early in my career, I only had a laser. So I was just running around with a laser in my, in the back of my car, and, going in and saying, oh, this is the best thing. As I've grown now and I introduce Jag Medical Solutions, now I'm a consultation to say, "Oh, you're interested in shockwave. Do you know whether or not you're looking at a radial shockwave or a focus shockwave? Do you know what generation that shockwave is? Do you know how it is actually going to work? Do you know?" I work with several different manufacturers. Do you know what their warranties are? Do you know do they already provide marketing, or do you need me to provide marketing for you on this particular product? Same thing with, height, the high energy inductive therapy. If you look at laser, full body LED beds, no matter what it is, like I have been around long enough. I've worked with almost every single manufacturer or consulted with them. So when it breaks it down, I can say, okay, yes, you're buying that product. And whether or not you buy from me, that's of insignificant value. It's just that you will be more educated on why you're using that product. And then whether or not you want to hire me to make sure that that product never collects dust, like we just talked about before, because I can come in and talk to your staff. There's so many different ways to introduce it, to offer bonuses, so that now my doctors are not sitting there saying, "Oh, my overhead or my monthly costs are going up." I can say, "Okay, well, now we'll use this product as a bonus incentive." And now these people, your staff members are walking in more excited than you to get to work because they can't
There's
make
a
that
lift.
kind of money somewhere else.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Really, if it if you don't know those things about a particular modality, you're basically buying blind. You've heard about shockwave, you heard about stem wave, and you and I had this conversation recently at the Florida event. There's and let's face it, every day something new is coming out, lack of a better term, I wish somebody would invent a bullshit detector
Yes.
because some of the stuff that we tend to see is, well, BS. Uh,
Yes.
and so, the average practitioner, we may not have the time to really dig into it. We just think, well, I want laser. Well, that's like saying I want a car. Or a vehicle. What do you need it for? What do you expect it to do? What do you expect? How are you going to benefit from that? So, um, it really is important that, like I said, you get the insight on the equipment and know why you're buying it and why product A may be better than product B. Testimonial, a non-paid testimonial when we're at Florida. I think I shared with you, I spent most of Saturday morning with my knees propped up in a Fowler's position because I've got some radiculopathy going on, and I'm just hurting like hell. Christy from our company said, "You gotta go sit on this thing that Jeff has." I'm going, "What the hell are you talking about?" And sure enough, I go, and you'll have to explain the technology because I don't. What I was a patient that day for a short period of time, and I can with 100% confidence say that after I got up, even though it was a relatively short treatment, my leg pain was pretty much gone, and it was for a couple of days.
Yes.
And again, the takeaway here, docs, is, well, it didn't work long term. Well, I only had one treatment. So, okay, it's kind of like saying a chiropractic patient had one treatment, they didn't get better, so it must not work. Um, I was not following the typical treatment protocol, but tell us about that piece of equipment because of all the things I've seen before, I haven't seen that before.
Yeah. It is new to the United States market. As far as the product that you were specifically using is called it's an H activator, which is a seat or a disc that you can sit on. It goes 12 centimeters depth of tissue. There's no disrobing, no gels, lotions, potions. It's completely unattended therapy. So it's called high energy inductive therapy. The device is called the Compact 2. But it is a revolutionary product in the fact that I can do all pelvic floor. So they're all muscle. I can do type 1 and type 2 muscle re-education. I can completely re-strengthen the core. So I can get deep tissue. And then I can also restore the low back. So I can get to the multifidi and all of its cousins for the stabilizers, so that after the adjustment, I now have extremely low back and core strength without somebody, for instance, for myself, that was involved in a car accident 22 years ago and was told I needed to have a cervical fusion and a lumbar fusion, of which I didn't do, but I also had a lot of issues with my low back. My core stabilization wasn't there. Occasionally, my low back would go out, and I would spend days inside my chiropractor's office trying to get adjusted and to get back on my feet using my own products to survive every day. But the height is just a unique thing. Like if I was, consulting with you, I'm like, okay, what are we really looking at in your practice? Do you have staff? Do you have an extra room? Are you in a therapy modality room where I can't use maybe a laser, a class 4 laser because of the requirement? So when you start doing that consulting, the reason why I like the height device is not only can it do all of that core strengthening, low back and pelvic floor, and also men for, the enlarged prostate, or what I call the leaky deaky syndrome, spending a little bit of too long in the restroom trying to make sure that you don't wet yourself. But you also have the ability to, without it costing any extra money of it in it unattended, but you also have pain, inflammation, muscle spasms, arthritis, because there's an armature that you can use. And cell permeability with this product is unreal because it's using magnetic energy, not PEMF, although PEMF is really awesome. All of your PEMFs are under 1 Tesla worth of power. So those magnetic frequencies are trying to accomplish something else with the patient. Once you cross over 2 and get to 3 Tesla is where you're actually getting that real strength of core, because I can now do type 1, type 2, and also pain and inflammation.
So you said it's a relatively new device, and the buzzword in practice today is evidence-based or evidence-informed. Has the manufacturer or others done studies on this? Are there papers on it? If doctors wanted to find out more about that, I mean, that's a big thing to me. It's nice to say, "Hey, yeah, it works," but I want to know what the mechanism of action is. I want to
Yes.
know, has it been studied? So, kind of, what are its credibility factors, if you will? Then,
Yeah, so magnetic frequencies have been around for a long time. Like obviously that's why you have the PEMF. But the when you get into the higher strengths is just a different kind of recruitment. But yes, the manufacturer itself is a 100-year-old manufacturer in Raf Novius. Kismet is the distributor for the United States, their exclusive distributor. And then I am an exclusive for their company to go into the doctor's offices, to do the installs, to do the training, and then to, what I call the bridge the gap. Now I'm actually saying, okay, this is how we're gonna actually have it make money in your practice. This is how it's going to be introduced to the patient. Here's, as part of Jag Medical Solutions, there's a whole bunch of different marketing stuff that I can do. I mean, let's face it, the chiropractors are getting taken advantage of with all of this. Oh, you need to do SEO marketing. I had several consultations this week alone, and the amount of money that they spent on all this marketing stuff. And I'm like, all right, I understand why that, they got you to spend money on that, but let's teach you a different way of being able to bring income into your practice without you having to spend money. So I go over a whole bunch of different ways to earn money without having to spend money. And then also without the doctor having to spend all their time. I'm like, give me the office manager, give me your front desk, give me your staff, and let me add value to what you're already doing. So, but yes, just to answer your question, there is plenty of research, even with the pelvic floor, because that is by far, and with the males with the prostate, etc. Like that is a booming industry, and it's a massive impact. And with everybody being able to keep their dignity, as somebody who traveled around with a pelvic floor therapist for 2 years, there's no disrobing. And, in like you said, a relatively short period of time, I can have an immediate impact on a patient, which is why I choose the products that I choose, because you're trying to get the biggest bang for your buck. Um, and pain is a massive reason why. I mean, other than beauty, there's no other, uh, part of our world that exists that pain is not the second leading one for it.
Yeah, you'll never see a dentist who isn't busy
Yep.
or a plastic surgeon.
Yes. Yep.
Funny how that works. Well,
Yes.
hang tight while we take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Welcome back to our podcast with Jeff Gavette. We're having a good time talking about modalities and whiz bang machinery and all that kind of stuff. Clearly, there's more technical names for it, but you get my drift.
Yes.
So, I mean, you've talked about lasers, shockwave, deep oscillation, infrared beds. There's a lot of stuff out there.
Yes.
Um, how do you stay ahead of the curve about which modalities will really bring value and positive outcomes? What's your research like?
Yeah, I'm usually being in the industry for as long as I've been in the industry, I will have manufacturers that will approach me, just like what just happened with the compact device, the high energy inductive therapy back in early May. The company approached me and said, "Hey, we have this product that we want to introduce to the United States market. We'd like to have you come up to our facility, see it, look at the science. We'll have our researchers there, we'll have the company there, and we just want to present this product to you. And do you think it has validity for it? I'll have a laser manufacturer or multiple laser manufacturers. At this point, I've been doing it for so long, I've worked with almost every single one of them, either in a consulting role or in a sales role. And so with the shockwave, with different manufacturers with the shockwave, I just keep getting introduced by the manufacturers to the products, and then I get to talk to their researchers. My main focus is yes, there are a lot of products, and I am 100% happy to say, hey, I know this about that product, or I know this about that industry. I've worked with these doctors that are in that industry. This is what they're doing, and you more than happy to call them to get more insight into that. But my main focus is products that very short treatment times and very, very quick results. So that when somebody's coming into, did a consult in Augusta just last week, and they're like, okay, this is exactly what our procedure is when a patient walks in the front door. And I'm like, okay, so do you do any adjustments or anything to the patient when they're in your office? No. How about doing laser therapy? Because you can give them quick pain relief so that they want to come back tomorrow because they got some relief, and then they're looking forward to what you might present to them the next day. So ultimately, when you consult with an office, you can really find out what they can do or can't do. But simple answer to your question is I get introduced by manufacturers that seek me out to say, hey, we have these products. It will fit in your profession, like the people that you're working with, and we would love to, help you to be able to help them.
Yeah. I almost wish there was like a good housekeeping seal of approval for things that come out because I mean, let's face it, we're us docs, we're sitting ducks sometimes. Depending on how good somebody's marketing is or the salesperson is, we end up getting things that we really haven't done our homework on.
Yes.
So how do you, in absence of a bullshit button or a Consumer Reports type of report about equipment. How do you suggest that we separate the flashy gadgets from really meaningful clinical tools?
Yeah, that's my biggest thing that I'm trying to do right now is to actually put if somebody wants to consult with me, like I can give you the insight. I know their warranties. I know, the issue. Like I had a chiropractor. I was just flying home from Nashville last night from my presentation. I had a chiropractor that called me up and said, "Hey Jeff, we purchased this product from you. This product is, they told us that it's out of warranty. Can you help me?" And I said, "Yes, thank you for calling me." And then I called the manufacturer and said, "Hey, this is what's happening." And then they sent it to them at no cost, which, would have it was a significant piece that would have cost money. So ultimately, by working with me and the different manufacturers, then I can assist them in getting things taken care of.
And
Now,
that kind of
yeah.
relationship is important. I'll just tell you a personal story. I won't name names, but I invested in a fairly well-known laser years and years ago, and we just were not getting the outcomes that everybody else was saying they were getting, and I mean, it felt like I'd bought a gun that only shoots blanks, so I'm sitting there and I'm just doing my stuff, and it just like nothing seemed to work. I ended up sending it back twice, had it recalibrated, all that stuff, and it just never. I mean, and I'm not talking about on some patients it didn't work. We just didn't get an outcome. Long story bearable, it was me against them. They was, "Well, the unit's working fine. We don't know why you're getting results." So it became my problem and my expense, and hell, it just might as well have been a boat anchor for me, in the end. So I think having someone who's not just selling you a piece of equipment that but from what you're describing, you sound like you're really kind of becoming a partner or a consultant with the practice to help them make better decisions about what they're buying and how they're gonna implement it. So I think that is certainly a big differentiator, from and again, I'm not bashing other companies, other
No.
sales, that type thing, but, we really do need someone that is functioning like a partner, someone that we can trust, somebody that we don't hesitate taking their word for it. So I love that you're building that type of service into offering the products. I think that's critical.
Well, I like to tell my doctors all the time, you can buy directly from all the manufacturers that I represent. You just don't get me. The difference is that, for instance, when you call me up and you say, "Hey, Jeff, we're not getting that result. I need your rear end in my office and I need you to make this thing work." And if you don't make it work, then I need you to sell this thing for me so that I don't give you a bad review. So,
There you go.
the
Yep.
bottom line is that no matter what, just like what you just said, like a place for somebody to go to just say, "Hey, I'm looking at this product." And then I say, "Okay, let's take that product. Before we even start talking about that product, tell me about your office. Do you have somebody that can do this treatment? When you start asking those questions, and I'm like, that product is not for you. It has a lot of bells and whistles and it sure does look pretty, but I can promise you that it will not function in your practice. Like it will end up being a headache for you. So I would like to cut it off. So being able to or like when somebody buys something, the reason why it starts collecting dust is because either you fall out of love with it and or your staff falls out of love with it, which is the reason why I keep trying to tell my doctors, you have access to me at all times. Like if you get X amount of treatments in and you're not getting a response, my phone should blow up. There is no reason why you should ever lose, love with the product that you purchased because of the results that you're getting with the patients. Because again, it's easy, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, but when you're sitting inside of you're at there's two types of doctors that go to their CEU continuing education. There's the ones that, run by you like this. And then there's the ones that come over and talk to you and say, "Hey, what's happening? Like, what is this and how does it work?" But ultimately, again, most of the time you have a rep who's sitting inside of that, and again, I don't mean this with any disrespect either, but you have a manufacturer that hired somebody that doesn't have any clinical experience. They have experience with that particular product. And then I always say to them, have you ever used any of the other products that exist in or your competitors? Have you ever touched their device? Do you know what their software does? Do you know what their applications are? And that's what I've done over the 30 years is I actually have either they're in my garage, they're in my treatment room. I have one of the most beautiful treatment rooms that exist on the planet in my house. So I have a lot of friends who like me because they want to come over and see all my, my new stuff. So I'm actually using the stuff. I've worked clinically with so many different medical professionals over the years. But again, my whole sole purpose is just to sit there and say, hey, I don't care if you buy from me again. I am going to make sure that you're educated onto what you're buying and know, for instance, yes, you bought that piece of equipment and you better know what their warranty is. Like, what is their service? What's their turnaround time? Because we get so lost in what it's going to do for me, not what it's going to do, or, how much is it going to cost me to run every year. I call it, do you want home ownership or do you want timeshare ownership? Because you can own the timeshare, but you
You
don't
know,
know how much it's going to cost you every year to have it.
I want to take a kind of a sidebar for a moment because I think I have found this is so critical. Um, I love that you talk with the doctor about their practice, their staff, the skill set of their staff. And docs, I just want you to think about this for a moment. Oftentimes, we may have a front desk that really isn't good at collecting over the front desk. Either their confrontation level isn't high enough, and I don't mean negative, confrontation, but the ability to ask for money is not something that everybody does well. There are chiropractors that don't, that are hesitant going over treatment plans and financial report of findings because they don't like talking about, having the money talk. And the reality is, unless you hire for that position, the likelihood is, and I did this for years. When I hired a front desk CA, I looked for a former employee from a vet's office or an orthodontics office because they ask for money all day long and don't bat an eye. I tell the story. I bought $7,000 worth of orthodontia for my two boys in less than 30 minutes. And I walked out of there and said, what the hell just happened? They didn't even bat an eye. It's like, this is
Yeah.
what it's going to cost. You can either pay it up front and get a 10% discount, or here's your coupon book for $176 a month. Give me the coupons. But yet,
Yeah.
in our offices, we have that issue either sometimes with collecting at the front desk or whoever your insurance person is going over financial arrangements. And I would challenge docs to look at their background. And we used to do a credit check on our employees that we would hire. Because if you've got Sally Sunshine up there and Sally is up to her, you know what, in past due bills and got so much financial chaos going on in her life, how in the hell are they going to be comfortable asking other people to pay their bills when they can't pay them themselves? I mean, it becomes it's a mindset issue. I mean, sure, there are some people that are in a tough situation and they can function properly, but docs, you need to look at what is the skill set of the people I'm hiring and make sure that you're putting them in the right seat. So, I mean, you can't take someone with financial problems, a lot of problems in that area, and expect them to excel at collections. It's just in conflict with what they have happening. And I'll share one other little short story with you outside of chiropractic. One of our consultants, Aaron Reynolds, his wife owns a vet clinic, massively successful clinic. And so he started doing some lecturing for vet clinics nationwide and high achieving clinics, if and just so you're aware. And a lot of the vets were complaining about, our staff, they're not moving the products, they're not moving the dog food, they're not moving, all the surrounding stuff in the vet's office. There are other revenue streams. And I remember Aaron sharing with us, he said, so I just asked him a question. How many of your front desk staff or even your technical staff have any background whatsoever in selling? And of course, no hands go up because they were hired as front desk managers, not salespeople. So if they don't have that skill set coming in, you got to realize if you want Sally Sunshine to be able to sell orthotics or sell a package of care or whatever it is, you got to make sure that you're hiring somebody that that's in their comfort zone, or be willing to invest in them to get them into that comfort zone. Otherwise, you're going to continue having the problems with collections, with case acceptance. I mean, you go right on down the list. The better we train our staff, the better our practices are going to run. And docs look at that as an expense. And I will tell you that is hands down the best investment I think any of us can make.
Oh, and that's why the simple questions to just say, "What am I dealing with?" Or even, I'll meet the staff when I'm at a show, and they'll just I say, "Okay, is there anybody who's doing treatments?" Because some people already have modalities in their practice that they're using. Some people don't have any. I've dealt with a lot of clinics that have never had a modality in their office, and now all of a sudden they're introducing a modality, and that's a complete culture shock to what they're doing. But the simple little things like nobody who's doing treatment is ever talking to somebody about money. I've done so many consultations and surveys and stuff. Money is never discussed until, what I'll say a lot when I'm inside an office, until you go talk to Mean Ginger up front, because that is 100% her role. It's just to say, this is exactly how much it costs. I can't tell you how many chiropractors I go into, and this just happened with the doctor that just decided to add a couple pieces of equipment from last week. He felt like he just had to, you know, justify every single thing. And I did the exact same thing that you just did. I'm like, that's really funny because I just walked into this store and they didn't say, "Hey, Jeff, let me show you all the research and let me show you all the stuff. And this is the reason why you're going to buy it." They said, "This is how much it costs. Are you ready to purchase today?" And I'll do this a lot with my stuff. And I'm like, I'm sitting there consulting or I'm teaching the person who's going to be collecting the money. And I'll just say, they're like, "Oh, I really just don't think I have that." It's simple little things like the office doesn't even have care credit or any other form of opportunity for them to make payments. And so I talk to them about that, or I just say, "Okay, well, come back when your pain is hurting you enough that you decide you want to make a change."
Yeah.
Right? Some people you just got to let them walk away, but there's no reason for me to sit there and go through, like you talked about the orthodontics. They didn't just sit there and say, "Hey, by the way, we've got to validate, 15 years of this and 100 years of this, and now you'll know why your teeth look how pretty they're going to look." They're just like, "We know you want it. This is what you need." And that's the same attitude that I go in with. If somebody's in your office, that is the biggest battle that you've already say that again?
They've already given you the buy signal.
Yeah, they're in.
They're there to be helped, so don't
Yeah.
screw it up.
So don't sell your way out of a sale. And by the way, this is my biggest thing. Every single one of us is a sales rep. Every single one of us wakes up every single day. We go out and we have interactions at the grocery store. We have interaction. All you have to do is stop thinking about it as sales and think about it as, I'm just being me. And another way that I help offices, again, and we've kind of talked about it before, is I absolutely initiate bonus structures. You'll never find somebody more excited to come in when they're an hourly wage person and say that the going rate is $15 an hour. When they're making $25 an hour in your office, they are going to say it again.
It's a game changer.
Oh, because they know that they can't make that money somewhere else. They're more excited to come to work. They're eager. I tell this story like all the time. I had a laser technician. The office implemented a bonus structure, and she got my number from the office, called me crying, and said, "I just made enough money." She's a single mom to take my daughter to Disney World. We're going to stay on Disney property for 3 days because of the bonus structure that you talked to my doctor about. So thank you." And then she called me again crying and saying that that was the best weekend that her and her daughter got to experience. So it's little things like that that most people are not sitting there saying, "Hey, just give me more money." They're, we're earning experiences. And you're doing that through just simple little bonus structures.
Yeah, I have found that to be effective over the years in most every business I've been involved in. The moment you can change the mindset of someone who is thinks of themselves as just an employee to where if the business does better, they do better. Now it's like you've got more shoulders at the wheel, more buy-in, because they know if they help Doc do this amount, they get this amount. It's the with 'em, it's the what's in it for me. Otherwise, I mean, think about this. If a CA comes in has been in an office that's been seeing 25 patients a day and she feels like she's swamped doing that, and then she's hired to work in a clinic seeing 100 a day, she's gonna be so damn overwhelmed. But if you have a bonus structure or something in place to say, "Hell yeah, let's see 125," that changes the mindset when we can create some kind of win or with them for our employees. So I got one other question just about the technology that's emerging.
Yes.
What's the new thing that's on the horizon that if you're aware of any? What do you think is gonna be
Um,
a big thing?
yeah, my biggest thing is that I just launched the concierge modality suite. And the concierge modality suite is taking multiple different modalities, implementing them into one office. What I like to say is whether you have one product or you have the whole suite, it's I'm there to make sure that they know what your menu is. So many times they'll walk into your office, and this is not because I'm some rocket scientist. This just happened to me over the years, and I was able to see the detail, and then make it part of my business. But they'll come into your office, they don't know that you have this service or this opportunity, or because they don't know your menu. So just having a simple presence of your menu, same thing with the concierge modality suite. These are all the cutting edge modalities that exist. There are a few others that I absolutely have people that I will refer you to. Like if somebody says to me, "Oh, I want to offer a hyperbaric chamber." I'm like, "Okay, well, great. I know several companies that you can go talk to." But if you're just looking for modalities, I try to stay to the modalities that are 100% chiropractic related and how they're going to accentuate what you're doing in the chiropractic world. There are obviously, there's a lot of stuff I can do with med spas. I mean, I can show you how to use a shockwave so that we can do cellulite, we can do facelifts, we can do turkey neck. I can use beds for fat loss. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different avenues that people can go down if they want to, like have a different menu to offer. But all of them are cutting edge still to this day. Even laser therapy is still an absolute vital component to what people are doing in their practice today because of the immediate pain relief. But the device that I actually was able to treat you on, that everybody everybody at the show is kept sending people over to my booth to say, "Hey, you got to go see Jeff and see what this piece of equipment." The height device, because there are a couple of other companies that have higher power magnets, but they're just the ones that you can treat like the shoulder or the low back, or you can treat the knee or the ankle. This H activator is extremely exclusive because of the magnet being a little bit bigger. And the, not having to disrobe lotions, gels, potions. So the height device is definitely one of those ones it's growing in popularity. Digital thermography is a massive game changer for an office, from being able to see when a patient walks in, that image is 1,000 words. You don't have to say something to the patient. I
They
don't
live
have to sit there and validate all of this stuff. I just flip the camera around and I say, "Hey, by the way, you're experiencing pain right here?" wow, look how red you are. And immediately the patient's like, that's exactly what I've been trying to say. Everybody thinks it's here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, no, we're going to get there, but we've got to get this resolved first. So,
Excellent.
thermography is a next big step too.
So, if somebody wants to reach out to you, Jeff, just to get pick your brain a little bit, ask some questions, what's the best way to for them to reach you?
The best way is always just my cell phone. Um,
Okay,
if
what,
somebody
what
just text messages me and just says, "Hey, I saw the or I listened to the podcast. I'm just interested. I have these products. I would love to set up a consultation with you." I am having on my website where people, if they go to jagmedicalsolutions.com, they can go and actually book a consultation with me. Again, they can send me a text message if it's easy. They can send me an email at jeff@jagmedicalsolutions.com. My cell phone is 941-441-6131.
deal?
I'm here to help.
Great. So, I got a couple of just for fun questions.
Yes.
What talent do you have that most people don't know about?
I have a talent that I know that absolutely nobody knows about except for my buddies when we were in the Presidential Honor Guard. I have several really unique talents that provide me no lucrative income from them. Um, I can stand for hours only blinking my eyes. And, when we were doing the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier or the Pentagon or the White House and all of those ceremonies, you're just standing for hours. And you look pretty in the moment when they take a picture, but you've been standing there for hours.
That's got to be hard.
I can iron anything and make it stand upright on its own. I can polish a piece of brass so that it actually looks like a mirror. You can 100% see it very well. So those are just a couple of things that I can do very well. My height helps me to wash windows that are high. So
Good deal. What's the worst job you ever had?
I I can genuinely say that I haven't had any worse job because I try to make every single thing I'm doing extremely fun. And I was a garbage man. So I used to be on the back of a garbage truck, which most people would think is like, oh my gosh, that's not a great job. And I had a blast for a whole summer doing it. There's been,
It's all
there's
about the
been,
attitude.
yeah. Say it again.
All about the attitude.
Yeah, well, you know as well as I do, you can walk in every single day and just say this is a miserable day, or you can wake up every single day and say I've been gifted with another day. And there's going to be something amazing about today that I'm, going to write in my journal at the end of the day today and I actually was in bed sick all day. I was like, "Oh, but I lived." So, but attitude is everything.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I really appreciate you spending some time with us today, and thanks to everyone listening to the ChiroSphere podcast. Please subscribe and share the podcast with your friends. Let us know who you'd like to hear from in the future, and we'll do our best to get them on. Doctors, if you're offering discounts of any kind in your office, you need to make sure you're not breaking state and federal rules and regulations on dual fee schedules, inducements, anti-kickback violations, all of which can lead to hefty fines and penalties. ChiroHealth USA can help eliminate these concerns by using our profitable discount strategy, which ensures that any discounts you offer are 100% compliant and, most importantly, profitable. It all starts with a simple, no cost, no obligation phone call to find out if we can help you, like we have literally thousands of other doctors nationwide. Many of our doctors have seen a 20% increase in their revenue and a 50% retention of patients who are part of our network. Over the past 18 years, over 7,000 chiropractors have helped over 4.3 million patient family members get the care they need at a cost they can afford. If you want to increase revenue and retention and practice with more peace of mind, call us at 888-719-9990 or visit our website at chusa.com. That's CHUSA.com to find out why ChiroHealth USA is the network that works for chiropractic and you. Thanks again, Jeff.
Yes, thank you so much.